Welcome to it, ladies and gentlemen. We are live, DSPN in studio on a Sunday post-match wrap-up of 3 test matches. I feel like I've got rugby balls for eyes at the moment. Got up very early to watch us play Wales. And then after that, it was South Africa versus Ireland. And then after that, just watched France mop it all up against Australia. So we're going to go through all 3 games, but we'll kick it off, of course, talking about Wales. If you've joined us on the live podcast here, keep the comments coming in. We love all of that. We'll get to those in just a second. I want to thank Novus very much. Novus Glass, Notice It, Novus It. Novus provide very generous sponsorship for this podcast. We're like any other little fledgling business. We've got bills to pay and everything else. And so we thank them for their support and ask that if you have to make a consumer choice and you've got a crack on the windscreen, you think about Novus and think about them first. As well as that, we have Changing Sheds, which is a brand new subscription service. If you follow Duncan Garner's podcast, absolutely brilliant editor-in-chief, it's very similar to that. It's a couple of bucks a week, and every Friday we put out an episode, which is a little bit of backroom stuff, a little bit of behind-the-scenes stuff, a little bit of unfiltered opinion, and the odd interview that is just for you. All the stuff we provide for free, we are still going to do that, of course, every single day here on the DSPN. I'm giving the All Blacks a solid B for the win over Wales. 7 tries, 50 points, and all that with 12 changes from last week's side. It was comprehensive. It was easy. For the most part, I thought it looked pretty good. Although, felt a bit like a training run, perhaps more of than a proper test. It would have been a B+, except Wales managed 26 points of their own, 4 tries in return, and our right side defence, a hat-trick of tries down that channel. It can be questioned. But let's be real about this. This was never going to be a match we were going to lose, ever. It's probably the softest win that we've had all year, maybe the softest win in the last 2 years. The All Blacks did what they had to do. They won. They won well. Showed a bit of style and put Wales away in a way that reminds us just how wide the gap is between our 2 teams. No disrespect to Wales, but let's not get carried away here. The Welsh rugby team right now is at their lowest ebb. Of their last 21 tests, you know these stats, they've lost 19 of those. The only 2 wins were both over Japan. That's all they've got to show for 2 years of pretty underwhelming rugby. So while it's a good win for the All Blacks, it comes with the odd asterisks attached. And I know, you're probably going to say the old chestnut, look, you can only play who's in front of you. And I agree with that, sure. A test win is a test win. You take it, you enjoy it. But this is the All Blacks, and we set our bar very high. Always have, always will. And this match didn't really test that bar. Didn't send a message, I didn't think. It didn't announce our intent to be the best team in the world again. It was Wales. So instead, what do we look for? I think encouraging signs, individual performances that impressed, combinations that gelled, exciting tries scored, counter-attacking moments, and yes, the blooding of a new player or 2 that fans have been desperate to see. But let's also be honest about the players whose time is now up. Finlay Christie, Leonard Brown, Rico, Sevu. I'm just a fan. I'm saying thank you very much for your service. But we need fresh options if we're serious about winning in Australia in 2 years. You can't win a World Cup with that midfield. It's nothing personal. It's just sport. You've had your time and it's time to move on. That's what happens. So in short, good game to watch. Entertaining enough, I thought. But it lacked the intensity of a top-flight test. It just didn't really feel like the Ireland one did, the Scotland one did, or last weekend's against England. You take the win. You enjoy the tries. But we've got to keep it in perspective. It was Wales. Positives and negatives. Lachlan is about to join me. I don't really think there were that many negatives. Let's start there. Defence, sure. It's not our best side. Look, we aren't South Africa. We know that. We can't make 12 changes to the All Blacks and still produce the same kind of quality. That's not going to happen. It took about an hour to get control. I'll disagree a little bit with Jeff Wilson, who I watched at the end of the Sky Sport coverage, who said it was a close game and that they were still in it. I didn't think they were really in it. At 24-21 there, on the scoreboard they were Wales, but then we really pulled away, didn't we? We scored, 3 unanswered tries, 20 points, and then we exchanged tries at the end. So I didn't think they were really in it. Again, they scored 26, and I thought they scored them a little too easy at times. Messy second half. But celebrate the win. And that wraps up the international season. We are not going to do a full-blown look back at the 13 tests until during the week. We're going to concentrate today on this one, Wales, and then, of course, the other 2 that we're watching. So positives, if you've just joined us here on the DSPN, we are live for the next 40, 45 minutes or so. Comments are coming pouring in. All right, Locke, take care of that in a second. Positives for me, mate. We won. We put 50 points on, and that's, against any international opponent, you put 50 points on. Caleb Clark, I thought, was a hell of a positive.
Yeah.
He's got that number 11 jersey cement now. As long as he can stay fit, he just brings what we need, I think, on the left wing. He's strong, he's tough, he plays in a belligerent manner. Not that he's that kind of person, but he just plays that hard physical kind of rugby. He's good under the high ball, smart player, committed player. I really like this guy playing for us. Jordan on the wing, I liked that. And him under the high ball.
Bring it back. Will Jordan on the wing, bring
I like
it back.
that. Mackenzie's kicking. Damien, I thought, off the boot. Some of the kicking again during the game, a little wayward, but especially his place kicking. Now, you go to a World Cup, you need a 9 out of 10 guy. That just goes without saying. 3 World Cups have been won by first fives, kicking goals. 2 of them drop kicks, as you know, 95 and 03. And then Andre Pollard, who was just magnificent in 2023. He just kicked all the clutch kicks. How many penalties did they have in the final, Lachlan?
4.
How many did he kick?
4.
That's exactly right.
Similar thing with 07, by the way. Montgomery. 5.
Fabian Holland. Outstanding. There was a great stat from Tony Johnson, who TJ will join us tomorrow, during the game, where he said that Holland has taken more line-out ball than any other forward in world rugby this year.
Yeah, I know. I heard that on the commentary.
What a stat.
How cool.
What a stat. Great stat, TJ. And also congratulations to Fabian for winning Breakthrough Player of the Year, which Wallace Satiti won last year. That's just magnificent to be a debut All Black this year, to play as many tests as he has, as many minutes as he has. Look, he hasn't been absolutely dominant all the time, but he has certainly just added to our second row, our locking stocks. And right at the moment, I would say that he's probably our number 1 in that position right now. I think he's usurped Scott Barrett in that. Barrett, to me, and him make a great combination. I think Fabian Holland, fantastic. So there it is. Pluses and minuses for you. As I say, I can't really think of a lot of negatives, because it was a game that I watched with a different mentality than I have over the last few weeks. And I think that if you're just getting absolutely psycho about that test match, you need to pull back a bit, because it wasn't one of those games. Your thoughts, pal?
Similar thing. It's a hard game to really measure the All Blacks on, because there is a gap between, say, the 4 or 5 best in the world and the rest.
Yeah.
On their day, the likes of Wales and Australia, Japan to an extent. Maybe Scotland and Italy obviously fall in this camp as well.
Fiji?
Fiji. Yeah, that's a good one. They certainly push the best teams, but Wales early on, when they were throwing the ball around, and especially when they spread it out wide, they were getting results. They were banking some land, a bit of a real estate term there. And so defensively, we still look a little bit vulnerable, but I think physically we're so much better than them.
Can I interrupt you there for a second?
Yeah. Just
in terms of the defence, and I'd like your comments on this too, people. Do you think that was a combination? Like, I'm just trying not to get too worried about it, because when you get 3 tries down the same side, it's like, rugby league, and we're all looking at the Warriors and Devlin every time they score down his thing. God, is it always his fault? And so is it someone's fault? Is it a combination of those defenders not quite getting it right? Is it the fact that this is a new combination? You've got Jordan with Rico and Ruben Love, and these 3 guys haven't played a test match together since I don't know when. And so is it a combination of all of that, or is it something deep-seated we've got to worry about?
Well, I don't think defensive duties are specific to players. So if you're a centre or a winger or a second 5 and you jam in or you commit to an attacking player too early, or you don't. Like, I don't think that's specific, like what you should be doing is specific to a player. So I don't think combinations impact that. Maybe if you're a 12 and a 13...
So
maybe,
it's more the defensive pattern. Yeah. See, I think the same about Devlin. I don't think Devlin should be blamed for every single try the Warriors get.
Well, yeah, no, because a lot of that will be what the decision that the centre makes, and then that forces the wing to make it. There was yep. I think it was Wales' second try. I think Ruben Love missed a tackle, but he had to essentially come up to the defensive line or come forward towards the Welsh players and jam in, and then sort of had to adjust and try and make a tackle and missed it. So I don't think... I think you if you're a winger or you're out on the wing, you are impacted on what someone does inside.
Well, whenever the All Blacks concede 26 points and 4 tries, we're always going to go, heck, that's quite a lot. If we conceded that amount of points and tries against a South Africa and Ireland or one of these teams, Argentina even, we're probably going to lose the game. So that's just why I'm pointing
It's been happening all year, where we give up a lot of metres in that sort of middle 50 or 60 metres off the field. But today the difference is that often we've been able to scramble really well. We didn't really do that today, because when they got into our 22 Wales, it felt like they actually got something out of it, some points out.
All right, other positives or what?
Well, it's tricky. Like the way we ran the ball, I think the ball running from a lot of our forwards was good. I think Simon Parker and Wallace Satiti were very good in that department. I think Duplessis Karifi, who for me has been a little bit underwhelming in the test game this year. I just think he's maybe taken a bit of time to adjust. I think the physical assertion that he has, if that makes sense, in Super Rugby. He can't do that in Test Rugby.
Different game.
Exactly, it's a different game. But I thought he played really well today. But again, is that because he was playing better or because the standard of the opponent dropped down?
I think you add both of those to it. You know, I mean, I look, every All Black that played well today, congratulations on that. Because that's your job, is to get out there and to play well.
Well, yeah,
and we can
course.
debate whether the opponent's worthy and all of that kind of stuff. But when you've got a black jersey on and they got a whatever jersey they're wearing, you just got to go out there and beat them up. That's the whole point.
I thought Ruben Love, he didn't actually get a lot of the ball, but when he did, he did a lot with it. I was really confused.
He had moments, didn't he? That try he scored was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it was a great try.
He dropped a couple, made a couple of mistakes, but I don't know why they dragged him, Lachlan. Why drag that guy at 55?
But also, so he is a player for the future for this team, and yet you drag him and you bring on Sevu Reece, who's been around he's been in the All Blacks since 2019. He's been playing rugby since he's 2016, 17, around there. A guy who has been on the outer for a little bit. If you're the coaches, don't you want to see more of Ruben Love?
Yeah.
What if he has to play 80 minutes of the World Cup at fullback, for example? What if we've got a few injuries heading into a knockout game, and then we have a few injuries on field and he's got to play 80 minutes? Well, you've just pulled him after 50.
I think this is going to be one of the things that we're going to look at during the week when we take a bit more time to look back at the whole season, is our substitutions and the way we use our bench, and whether or not there's a lot of pre-planning going on, or whether or not the vibe is right and they're doing it at the right time. I kind of got the feeling with that they were only intending him to play that amount of minutes. And this is a guy that
hasn't played all tour.
I know, and he's been playing for the New Zealand 15, right? The XV. Yeah. And so why wouldn't... Yeah, look, and we've got a lot of comments in on that. Don't know, people. I think it's a really valid question.
I thought there was some encouraging performances from some players who we've needed to see. Like Will Jordan's been pretty good for most of the year. I thought he played really, really well. I know you don't like him very much, but I think Rieko Ioane did as well as he could with the opportunities that he got.
I don't dislike him. I just think his time's done. I just don't think he's any better than he was 3 or 4 years ago. And in 2 years' time, he's not going to be any better than he is now. And I just think we need to move on.
I think his selection was intriguing because if you're going to mix the team up so much, and if you're playing Anton Leonard-Brown and Rieko Ioane, I don't think you have much of a value around that combination, because neither guy is at the top of their game right now and in a position where they're going to be starting those positions for the All Blacks.
They should have played.
No, they should have played Leicester, I think, at centre. Well, because Leicester came off the bench. Again, some of the selections just are a little bit confusing. But I think the four-pack played well. I think physically we were much better than Wales. I think it's the first scrum didn't happen until like the 35th minute or something. Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it? Yeah. And I think Wales got a free kick out of it anyway.
And I thought we handled the high ball a lot better today.
You still need to improve. Yes, but we were better, because I think.
But we actually caught a few, and actually we caught a few off our kicks as well.
Yeah, but there was a moment Lewis Rees-Zammit recovered the ball. Damien McKenzie sort of. He went up and competed, obviously didn't get it, and then I think a couple of phases later they scored a try. Yeah. So we do. It's a glaring issue. I think the two glaring issues with the All Blacks, and one of them I think is, we talked about this I think last week, might have been during the week, that in defensive razor, maybe he and the coaches are just taking a little bit of time to get used to this whole different way that the box kick is used in Test Rugby as a weapon as opposed to Super Rugby, and they can only, you can only really learn on the job from that perspective. But we really need to fix that area.
That's
that
27
and
tests,
our defence are the two areas that are really, like the first test of the year against France. I remember just yelling at the TV about the holes in our defensive line, and we're a little bit better, but yeah, defence and us under the high ball are the two most concerning things about this team right now.
Then you look at New Zealand Rugby, who are advertising at the moment for an inclusivity manager, whatever that person is or does.
Really?
I would rather that we went to somewhere like the AFL or somewhere and actually spent the money on a guy that can actually teach us how to catch.
Well, to be fair, an inclusivity manager will be in a different department than high performance.
Okay, all right. I'm just saying that if you've got money to spend, well, there's probably a few dollars that might go to somebody who understands
what... you know that money can't be moved around departments, and something that makes sense to go, well, we don't really need this position. Let's shift that money over to this department.
I've got a whole list of questions here. We'll get to your comments in just a second and keep them coming, people. And we thank you so much for joining us here, the DSPN, as we look post-match. 3 scores to talk about today. New Zealand 52, Wales 26, South Africa 24, Ireland 13. And just a nutso game. What a game. Chaotic. France doing it to Oz 48-33. Australia actually hung tough, 19-all at half-time. Just a quick word on that South Africa-Ireland game. 5 cards for the Irish, 4 yellows, 1 20-minute red. And that guy, I got his name down here, the 20-minute red guy, James Ryan, moronic, absolutely moronic, a coach killer. If you'd be sitting there on the sideline as we didn't actually get to see. I'm sure the guy had his head in his hands. What are you doing, meathead? You're off your feet, diving through a ruck with no arms while the referee is standing where Lachlan is, and you think you're going to get away with that as your team is attacking 3 meters or 2 meters from the line. Oh, they call it a rush of blood to the head. Absolutely brainless. And Ireland were down to 12 at one stage there, Lachlan. 12 players on the field. So to keep the South Africans to 24-13, that, again, I'm sick and tired of praising the Yappies this year. They're a magnificent side. They're, as I see, streets ahead of everyone else. They're a couple of scores better than everyone else. Ireland looked a lot better than when they played us in Chicago. And so you're never going to...
it was their first test.
I know, you're never going to rewrite the result. Look, we pointed that out at the time and got lambasted for it, but they were underdone in that test match. There's no question. And if they'd played like they did today, with 15 on the field against us,
then you got to be.
We're probably talking about a couple of losses on.
The same as us. Every single year when the All Blacks play their first or second test of the year, they never look great.
Clunky is the word,
clunky, and there's no point getting annoyed or complaining about it because it's every single year. So obviously it's something that they do struggle to overcome. I would say every international side is the same, which is why I don't think you could read too much into the way that South Africa beat France, because that was France's first test of the season. Ireland's first test was against us. They were missing some guys through injury anyway. Like France for 60 minutes were good against South Africa, and then they just fell away. It's a conditioning thing. It's a fitness thing. You can't help it. It's just what happens. Let's get to some comments.
Okay, all right, keep them coming, people. We love this part of it, and especially during the week with all the bits and pieces we put up. Some of them were attracting hundreds and a couple of thousand comments last week, some of these pieces. As I said, we keep reading them all, try and reply to as many as possible. What do we got?
Well, for starters, someone's already having a crack at me for the jacket that I'm wearing today, which is obviously a Liverpool one, and it's not a great day to be a Liverpool fan, but I still love my team.
Your coach has lost the dressing room, mate.
Well, I think there's going to be some questions. Questions asked.
Nothing better than at the real club where it means more. Watching all of these fans file out the door with 15 minutes to go.
United fans do the same thing. You guys, half your fans, half the stadium walked out when we were beating you 5-0 at Old Trafford.
Nothing
after
is a
about
United
60
fan
minutes.
not waking up in the morning and knowing that them lot have lost 3-0 at home.
Still love my team, still love my club. I'll always be a Liverpool fan. All right. No team is nailing the high ball. I wouldn't say that exactly because was it last week against England?
I thought the Yappies got. I thought the South Africans
got. I think last week against England they were far better than us under the high ball.
Yeah, and England are good too.
Leaking tries right into the second half should be a worry. Agreed. Our defence has been really poor. That one there from Rito. I think Rito was quite active last week on the stream. Thank you, Rito. Good on you. ALB and Rico are done. This is from Jordan, who's tuning in from Sydney. Do you agree with that? You said that already, but would you pick them in the first squad next year?
No. Look,
regardless of Super Rugby,
I don't want to see. And again, this is not being mean, and it's no disrespect. I don't want to see the name Sevu, Leonard Brown, Rico, Finlay Christie in the All Blacks next year.
So our first test next year is against, is it Ireland?
We've got 18 months to get this right. If those guys are named in the World Cup squad in 2027, I would despair. Look, all of those players have had differing, I'd say, degrees of success in an All Black jersey. A couple of those players, Leonard Brown and Rico, have played over 80 tests. But you've got to be real about this and ask, how many of those have been standouts? Name me 5 Leonard Brown tests where you've gone, wow, that guy. He's a good player, but he's never been a great All Black. And I think Rico, again, the guy's been around since 2016. You're not getting any better. I just think these are the names that we need to weed out and get some fresh blood in there that are going to take their place. And I think Caleb is one on that left wing. And he's not fresh blood, of course. But
that's his jersey, I think.
I think that's his jersey. And the other one for me, again, I'm not being mean, is Cortez, who to me is just average. I mean, if you were going to impress as a halfback, it's this game against that team with an All Black forward pack going forward. He's just not decisive enough. I just don't think he's got the street smarts to play at that level as an All Black halfback. He's okay, but okay's not good enough at the moment for us. We need to be better than okay at the World Cup. So I'd add a question mark around him as well.
So if Cortez, I've got another comment that I want to get to in a second. I think is a good topic to touch on. But just with Cortez, because you'd have Roygaard as your starter. I think Hotham deserves to be given an extended. Obviously, he's battling injury at the moment. He seems to be injured a lot. Hotham. Actually, all our halfbacks are always bloody injured. Jeez.
Yeah, we've had a pretty rough year.
Carl Preston obviously had a really good Super Rugby season,
and he came off the bench. Remember,
against the Box at Eden Park, and played pretty well. So there's 2 good options there outside of Roygaard. It really is, though, musical chairs below the number 1 halfback spot.
Yeah, I just think that we're looking at a number of players still in the All Blacks who to me are Super Rugby players and haven't been able to lift their game up to that level. And so whether or not they get another chance next year, I don't know. We've had 13 tests this year. And a guy like Proctor, again, we all pushed for him to come, to be in that team. I'm a big fan of this guy. Love the way he played his Super Rugby. But we haven't seen that Super Rugby form at all this year from him in an All Black jersey.
Well, some guys...
Maybe in little patches, but not
maybe just can't adjust to the Test game.
Maybe.
What did Egg Chasers say on the show? Tim say during the week that Eddie Jones talks about Test match animals, and some guys are great in Premiership rugby or franchise rugby, club rugby, super rugby for us, but they just can't quite make the adjustment. One more comment here from Broderick Fall. He says, Barrett once again doing the dirty stuff in the tight. He secured the breakdown, underrated performance. Yes. Can we please give some love to Scott Barrett? He's been copping it for like 2 years. Mm-hmm. It's a bit like Sam Cane all over again, where this guy, when you're the All Blacks captain, you're under a magnifying glass continuously, aren't you?
If you don't play like Richie McCaw and you don't have a personality like... I'm just trying to think of who is the kind of like the brightest spark. Oh, who would be the best All Black to interview?
Well, Dane Coles?
Yeah. Well,
someone like a Dane Coles?
Or Artie. Artie's fantastic to be around at every press conference. He's always great fun.
It took us a while to answer that.
But that's the thing. But because Scott Barrett isn't that guy, he doesn't have a social media presence, he doesn't play in that kind of realm that people, I think, misinterpret, the same as Sam Cane, misinterpret his value to the team.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the reason that he's been picked successively by different coaches and continued to be given that confidence and handed the All Blacks keys is because they believe in him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he played well too.
He played well. He's played well. He has obviously struggled to probably balance the captaincy duties with the playing duties, but that's nothing new. Like, it took Richie McCaw a long time to actually get really
Sean
good
Fitzpatrick
at that,
a long
at that
time.
Job. Yeah.
There's somebody. Okay, the other question. Beauden Barrett, I would also add Beauden to that list of names that I don't think from here should be a part of an All Black squad going to a World Cup 2027. Maybe they use him next year to blood in whoever it is and Richie Mwanga coming back. Well, obviously everyone's looking at Mwanga.
But we can't assume that Mwanga's our saviour.
No, he's not. No one's a saviour.
No, but this is the point. So let's say Mwanga doesn't.
Okay,
what if Mwanga
comes
back and he's well off the pace?
I'm looking at
who's our 10.
I'm looking at 2027 and thinking, is Beauden Barrett going to be a better player now than in 2027 than he is now? What are we going to get out of him in 2 years' time? I tell you what, though, he would be the most decorated water boy in world rugby, wouldn't he? World Player of the Year twice. Over 100 tests for the All Blacks, World Cup winner, and he's running the water. I thought that was pretty cool. Next year, in terms of our first fives, mate, look, I know that there's a lot of crying out for a whole lot of names. You got Harry Godfrey, you got Jacob, you got Rahiz.
Rafiz Rayhana.
Sorry, my bad. Rayhana. You've got guys that are...
Taha Kemura was good for the Crusaders before he got injured as well.
They're not at All Black level yet. But
how do you get to All Black level?
This is
you
the
get
point.
Picked in the team, or you go on the All Blacks 15,
or even Ruben Love there at 10. We've got a lot of names, but we haven't, I don't believe, got one guy who's got his hand screaming up saying, "I'm that guy." Damien McKenzie today played pretty damn well, I thought, in the number 10 jersey for us. However, you got to again qualify that with the opposition and everything else, and so he remains the number one option. He has to be. But I think Mwanga probably usurps him, and then we've got a list of names bubbling under that need the game time. And who do we give them? What, do you start blooding these guys against Nations Cup opponents?
Yes.
Do you blood them in South Africa?
Because if you don't blood them against the teams that we're going to have to play, granted this is a tricky balancing act for the coaches and the selectors, but if you don't try them out against these opponents that you're going to be playing in the knockout phases of a World Cup, and they get to that point and they're a deer in the headlights, well, you've just wasted 3 or 4 years of potentially building up some really good talent. What does Rassie Erasmus do? He doesn't give us stuff.
Stop talking about Rassie Erasmus, mate.
But he doesn't give us stuff about...
Go worship at the church of Rassie Erasmus, mate. He's not our coach. I don't care what you do, Rassie. I think you're brilliant, but I don't care.
He rotates his team regardless of who they're playing. He doesn't care because he's built... That's how you build
we just
depth.
Become a nation of no pant wearers when it comes to Rassie Erasmus, isn't it? What is that?
Well, you've got to respect him. He's a great coach.
All of that.
Yeah. You know what I love, by the way? I love that on Twitter. He's very active on Twitter. And he actually mentioned one of our interviews once.
I'll just, sorry, interrupt here. The greatest thing about Rassie Erasmus on Twitter, he's got like about 2 trillion followers. Who does he follow?
This is what I was about to say. He follows the team that he's about to play.
That's it.
Yeah. So he would have been. He would have changed who he's following to. Who did they play today? Ireland. He's probably following Ireland to the change to Wales tomorrow.
Mate, he's playing with us all, mate. He's playing with us all. He's in here. He's in our heads.
Yeah. Great. He's setting a new standard. The All Blacks did it for about 10 or 15 years. We need something to chase.
I like this message here from S. Milligan. Wild take, but I think Jordan is not a fullback, but rather a wing.
Yeah.
Let's talk
about that.
Yeah.
I've been saying this for a couple of years.
Yes, you have. I acknowledge that. And so this is, why I'm feeling pretty buoyant, because I believe that we do have solutions. If we axe those that are dead wood in our team and we've got to get them out of there, then you look at the back line and, okay, go. Okay, and we'll do more of this during the week. We're sort of still talking about our win against Wales here, which, by the way, we celebrate that. We put 50 points on, scored 7 tries. Well done, All Blacks.
Good finish to the year.
Pleased with that. but we put the perspective on that it wasn't our strongest opponent. Okay, so if we go through our backline at the moment, folks, number 9, we've got one of the very best in the world. At the peak of his game, when he's playing well, injury-free, he's as good as anyone on the planet playing 9.
Roigard?
Yes.
Yes, I think he's better than Dupont.
Then somewhere down there is our second and third guys. Okay, so we're lacking at 9. I think we're lacking at 10. I think we've got lots of names, but we don't have the 9-10 combination sorted
9
yet.
and 10 are the opposite. 9, we've got someone, we just need the depth, and 10 is
and we need to keep
we've got
fit.
guys, but we don't know which one to go with.
12 and 13, still experimenting, but with the Jordan on the right wing thing, and you've been calling for this for a while, Geordie Barrett can play fullback. Do we put him back to fullback and look for a brand new
Tupaia 12, Geordie Barrett fullback, which is his traditional position. He was playing fullback for the All Blacks in 2020, I think. It was only in 2022 when we moved him to second 5 because David Harvey was playing a lot of 12 for us, and then because we couldn't find one.
So we're looking at 9, 10, 12 and 13. We still haven't got sorted yet.
I think it's Tupaia and Proctor because defensively that's much more.
I'd go Leicester, but
that's much more reliable than Leicester being there. At the same time, I'd be on board with Leicester being at 13 as well.
So 9, 10, 12 and 13, which is quite important that we sort that whole combo from scrum out to centre. But you're talking about our back 3, and if we've got a fully fit Jordan on one wing, Caleb on the other,
and Geordie at fullback, or Ruben Love, that's a lot of height.
Also with a monster boot, and guys that are really capable under the high ball. That's Geordie, that's Caleb, and that's Will Jordan. And so maybe that's where we need to veer towards in terms of that.
As well, if Moanga comes back and he's actually half decent, which he probably will be.
Well,
I'm being pessimistic about whether he fits back in, but that's a pretty decent backline. I still trust Todd
Blackadder, who came on the program. I know he's his coach and he likes him a lot, and he said he thinks he's a better player playing in Japan at the moment than he was at the World Cup. I want to see this.
Quick, this is sort of off on a tangent, but with Richie Moanga, he's not eligible for the All Blacks until I think October next year for the interview tour.
But have you been reading them between the lines?
Yeah.
They think they'll make a sensible decision, New Zealand.
Well, because it's their own rules.
Why do you take so long to make this decision? Just make it.
They've
He's
set these
available.
rules
This is what I just don't get. How many email trees? How many management conversations have got to take place before we come out with this big decision that Moanga's available? Let's call it now. He's available. Yeah, We're going to South Africa.
He will be on the tour to South Africa.
He will be on the tour to South Africa.
He probably will play either the second and third or the third Nations Championship match before they leave as well.
I've got a big list of questions for you. Was it just me and my brand new TV that I've bought off the Airpoint store? Or was some of that camera work really weird for the All Blacks to start with? They look like zombies on the far side of the field.
No. Did you know what it was?
No.
Because there was fireworks that they let off inside, which the roof was open, and then I think they closed it when the game started.
Yeah, but the smoke's all...
I know, so the smoke's sort of gathering at the top, which Tony Johnson referenced on the call. But they obviously, with their sponsorship boards on the sideline, it's one that's projected on there by some graphics from the cameras.
Okay, right.
And so that's bright fluorescent red, but there's still so much smoke hanging around from the fireworks that went off. So the players and their jersey, everything else just looks a little bit
on the far side. It was like
washed out. It looked really strange.
Apocalypse Dawn, didn't it?
Yeah, I took a photo of it. Yeah.
Is it too much to expect 100% catching, regathering high kicks? What is an acceptable percentage to you at the end of the game in terms of that?
Well, I don't know. What's a typical percentage? What's viewed as a good percentage of that?
See, I think when you ask that question, you've also got to add in at what moment of the game, under what kind of pressure and all of that kind of thing. But
because I can't imagine that South Africa and England, for example, get 100%.
Well, I would expect we've got to be over the 500 on this.
For every 10 you put up, you'd like to think you're regathering 6 or 7.
Of what? Of your own?
Of your own, yeah.
Okay, what about theirs?
Half?
Yeah.
I'd say half.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm just wondering. Okay, let's write that.
But it's easier to gather theirs than your own, right? Is it? I guess so. Because it's pretty easy to, well, at least this is what the All Blacks tend to do. We misjudge the length of our box kicks or our bombs, and they tend to go a little bit too fast, so our guys have to really sprint or just don't even end up contesting
it's one thing that Scott Robertson pointed out during the week too, people, that he said, two of the things which, when we had this press conference last Monday and we asked him a couple of questions, which to me are just flabbergasted at the answers. One was the fact that the assistant coaches are learning on the job, or some of them are, which just when you say that out loud again a few days later, it still doesn't make any sense. And the other one was, we don't see a lot of, box kicking in Super Rugby. Well, again, mate, you had 18 months before you took the job. You've now had 2 years in charge. That's over 3 years worth to figure it out, because we've been watching this since 2017. Again, no disrespect to the coach, but we've had trouble with box kicks or whatever you want to call them since the Lions came here. So this is nothing new. And if we don't see them in Super Rugby, well, then obviously what we need is we need clinics and classes and whatever it takes to practice this aspect of the game, because it's a weakness that other teams are exploiting against us. I thought today we were pretty good. That's why I'm asking you about percentages. So you reckon off our own kicks? Again, leave us a comment about this. 60 to 70%, you got to field your own. On their kicks, you want it to be close to 50%.
I don't know what the numbers are of what an acceptable. It's like, okay, in the NFL, if your completion percentage is above 60, you're doing pretty well as a quarterback. But ideally, geez, you'd be completing 85% of your passes you're throwing, right?
Right. Malcolm Marx, is he worthy of being the best player in world rugby this year? He got awarded that. Yes, the answer is yes.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, to be fair, if any four of them got it, I'd be pretty happy, because Ox Inche is probably the best loose head prop in the world. And
also that try by Beer Bardi today. That try against the Oz in the first half, where he's on the left wing, he chips to himself, regathers. Wow. Okay, that's as good as any that Jeff Wilson scored in his time, and he was a superb winger.
But what a high score, 48-33 the final score.
Malcolm Marx, though, what international rugby team doesn't want that beast in their team? He's just a menace is what he is. He runs for 75, 80 minutes. He can play the whole thing. He very rarely makes a mistake.
I think it was 9 years ago when he was first nominated for Player of the Year.
Yeah.
So he's been
I'm
doing
so
it for
glad.
a long time.
This is a guy I think that thoroughly deserves it. All right. Can we go back to black boots? Because I'm sick of this. That's not a question. It's a statement. Gimmick, distracting, whatever the advertising deal is.
Disagree.
Razor got them back in black boots when he became coach. I'm over it. I just want look, we're all black. We're not all black and yellow. We're all black. Play in black boots.
Disagree.
Millennial.
No. I think you're being very angry old man here. Because initially I said that, and then I got pulled up on it by someone who said, "What? They're wearing matching boots. What are they? Yellow. They're sort of a greeny yellow colour. What is it? A lime green, a lemon lime type colour. As long as they're wearing matching ones, then what's the problem? I don't care. Who cares? Now, when you're I think at the World Cup, yeah, you do what you did in 2015, where it's black, it's real black, it's deep jet black. That's what you wear.
That's the whole. But this is the intimidating factor. That when you look at us, that's it. We're not.
I also think
we're not a gimmicky team, and it looks gimmicky to me.
Black boots and black socks with the current jersey would look a bit strange when you've got the white collar and the white stripes and whatnot. So no, I don't think it's a problem. I think they've got more important issues than that.
Here's a stat for you, and this was at some stage during the second half. TJ pointed this out. 58 penalties in the opposition half this year in Test rugby. We kicked 6 of them.
What, we attempted 58?
No, we got 58 penalties in the opposition half awarded to us. We kicked 6.
Most teams these days kick for the corner.
I'm just pointing that stat out. I'm just pointing that stat. At a World Cup, I would like to see that 6 turned into 26 and kick the goals. Another question. As an English sports fan, would you rather beat the All Blacks or win the Ashes? I don't know whether you watched any Ashes yesterday, people. Little sidetrack here, but we watched a fair bit of it yesterday. Yeah. That was just absolutely magnificent.
What a test.
Goodbye, Bazball.
Inside 2 days.
How embarrassing.
Well, yeah.
At 105 runs, 1 wicket down in that second innings, England, and you got 3 guys standing there with their feet in concrete, fishing out here at off stump. Come on, man.
I was delayed by about 10 or 15 minutes. I think I paused it to go pick up my takeaway downstairs. And I paused it, and then I hate being behind. I hate being delayed. I thought, it's a test, so nothing would have happened. It went from like 1 or 2 wickets gone to about 6. So I thought, what on earth?
4 and 11 balls. And they all went out to the same shot.
But this is what the Aussies do in cricket. Even when they're playing shite, excuse my hint of French there, they just find ways to win. And Travis Head with one of the most magnificent centuries you'll ever see.
You couldn't bat on that pitch, apparently. No. And he comes out and he blasts like it's a T20.
The commentators made a point where they said that he knew what the bowler was doing before the bowler knew what he was doing. He's absolutely right, because he's adjusting his footwork. He's scooping it over there. He's hitting it there. He's leaving good ones that you're meant to be leaving.
I'm pretty harsh on the Aussie cricket team. There's not a lot of them in there that you can like or find anything to like about. But he's one of them. I like that guy. He's fat with a mo.
Well, he's not fat. He's just a little more solid than some of the others.
Okay, we used to call them fat. Okay,
I think there's some likeable Aussies. I think
every cricket team's got a fat guy. Come on, tell me I'm wrong.
Nathan Lyon's pretty likeable, isn't he?
No.
Why not?
No.
Pat Cummins. I like Pat Cummins. He's
solar panel Pat.
You always say that every time.
With all the conflict going on in his own personal politics.
That aside, as a player,
then he rides a motorbike. He rides his own bike from Perth to Sydney to play, as opposed to preserve the planet. No, he doesn't. He flies business class.
How can you not like Mitchell Starc? I mean,
that was amazing.
At his age and still doing this, like he just loves taking wickets in the first over.
All right, let's go back to the rugby. Wales play South Africa next weekend. They're going to be without 13 players who play club rugby in England and France because this game is scheduled outside of World Rugby's international window. And so, therefore, the clubs have first dibs on them. Should this fixture even be played if that's the case? South Africa playing a Wales team which is now going to be without 13 of the players that played against us.
How is there an international going on, but it's outside World Rugby's international window? How does that work?
How does that work?
But also, if there's an international on, don't you guys oversee it and you organise it, and therefore it is under your jurisdiction? How does that work? If you've got an international football match on, it's in FIFA windows.
This sporting administrative incompetence. I've been working in this business, sports broadcasting, since 1998. I am stunned at the amount of balls-ups that go on in the administration of international sport. Netball, New Zealand, for example. Cricket, New Zealand can't get a schedule out that any fan can be happy with. Year after year after year. The amount of inquiries that have gone on and reviews that have gone on New Zealand sport. And World Rugby. They're doing the draw for the World Cup on December the 3rd. The World Cup's not till October 2027.
Yeah.
Surely you could wait until the end of next year.
Do it at the start of that year. Do it at the start of 2027.
And I got an email the other day for, Martin, you don't understand. I mean, they've got to get all the teams ready and then they book the hotels. Well, it doesn't matter who stays in what hotel. You've got a fixture list. The team that's playing at that ground is probably going to stay at that hotel.
So hold on a
second. I'm sorry, but is this that difficult to figure out?
Let's take the FIFA World Cup, for example. Teams are still qualifying for that. Now, have they found the 48?
No, they've got playoffs still to come.
Exactly.
And that's in June next year.
That's under a year away.
They're 48 teams,
if
mate.
they can do it, why can't World Rugby? Some comments quickly, by the way. There's a few good ones that have come through.
All right.
Terminox 234 makes a point of saying 5 Crusaders came off the bench. 5. Do you think we improved with the bench? I don't think we did. I think
the bench is one thing that we've got to actually look seriously at in terms of the perspective of the whole season, and are we using it correctly?
Anno08C says, how many games do you think we'll win on the SA Tour? Right now, I would say 1 would win the 4th as a dead rubber.
I reckon that we're probably going to beat the URC sides. In terms of the tests, mate, I live in hope. I'm not thinking about that until next year, until it gets closer, okay? I don't want to spend the whole summer moping about that.
I'm not going to say that name because I think it could be an offensive word, but thank you for your comment, person. Standing around in a pub for 15 minutes waiting for the Timo to make decisions to find reasons not to award tries.
Okay, no. I will disagree with you, person, because I thought that Holly Davidson was excellent as a referee, and I'm not in any way defining person by gender or anything here. That could be Harry Davidson as a referee. Davidson was a damn good referee, and I thought they got those decisions right. The first one, Karifi knocked it on. Okay, they came back, they looked at it, knocked it on. That was a knock on. The next one by Will Jordan, she was there, and if you listen to her through the, obviously the refs.
Comms of the team and whatnot. Yeah.
She said that she saw it grounded, and you did see it, but it was almost like a double movement. The first one, there was an arm underneath. Yeah. So I thought they got it right. I agree with you. It takes way too bloody long, but those decisions were right decisions in the end. And she was right to reverse her own decision. Well, exactly, it takes a bit of nuts to do that.
She was quite, the Timo said, I don't have enough evidence to say it's not a try. So he was essentially telling her, give the try, stick with your decision. She said, no, I just want to look at it one more time.
Yeah, I thought
it took a while, but she made the right call.
I thought she made the right call.
Another comment here quickly, this one from Connor Smith. I reckon Vern Cotter would be an excellent addition to the All Blacks. Has added a lot to the backbone, a lot of backbone to the Blues in his time there, which is spearheaded by Paddy T. Just food for thought. I love the idea of a little bit of steel and a bit of backbone injected into the All Blacks, because when we play England and when we play South Africa, we play these great sides. It does feel like we tend to get not exactly beaten up, but we get out physical.
Do you know what I'd like? I would like this, and I agree with you, whether it's Vern Cotter or somebody else. I want somebody to come in outside of the Crusaders cartel in terms of the coaching. Somebody with a different voice, somebody that might rub people up the wrong way a bit, somebody who actually
that would be Vern.
Has got very firm opinions about how he likes things done. And then maybe, I would like even Grant Fox or somebody with that kind of mana and brain and experience to be added as well, just to oversee things in case there are clashes or whatever. But I actually think differing voices are needed in this All Blacks selection and coaching panel.
I would be on board with this if... So like Leon McDonald, for example, left camp, and that was a decision that was pretty much down to Razor, wasn't it? Like Razor
probably decided to leave because they weren't getting on or whatever.
I would imagine when there's assistants in there, the head coach has more or less the final say around.
He's got to, doesn't he?
Exactly. I'd like that if this new person gets brought in. We talked about it last week, being maybe Wayne Smith or a Tony Brown. It'd take a lot to pry Tony Brown away from South Africa, and I don't know if his relationship with NZR is that great, to be honest. I just wouldn't want it to be a situation where Razor could bring Vern in and then after a couple of tests goes, oh, we're not really working, and is able to get rid of him. I hope that NZR's, the new CEO or David Kirk, they'd step in and say, no, you don't get to choose whether this guy goes. We're putting him in there, and we decide whether you or him leave the camp. Anyway, I also don't know if Vern Cotter and Razor will coexist very well.
All right, a couple to go and then we'll wrap it all up. Would Ireland have beaten the All Blacks today?
That version of Ireland today? That version of the All Blacks or the All Blacks A-team? A-team.
Yeah, the All Blacks A-team. Remember, we were big time in the last 20 minutes against Ireland in Chicago. We played really well in that last 20, but we were pretty gassed. Muddled for the first 60.
It was a bit similar to the Scotland test. They were just gassed.
Look, I was impressed with Ireland in the fact that for 12 players, they kept the score to 24 points against the Box. Remember, they put 43 on us the last time we played, and we had 15 out there. Some of them are turnstiles.
I mean, assuming the A-team for the All Blacks is the one that played England last week, which I personally, I'm not that I'm a coach, but I'd make some changes to that. But if that team plays the Ireland team from today, no, Ireland probably wins. That's what I think.
Let's wrap it up there. 3 games we have watched. And again, started the show by saying congratulations to the All Blacks. You always celebrate and appreciate every win. We don't get to see our team play that often, 13 games this year. We'll spend the next week doing the big look at the season and what we need to improve upon, who needs to stay, who needs to go. We'll argue and debate and contemplate all of this kind of stuff. But today, we beat Wales and we scored 50 points and scored some really cool tries. And I think that's all it is. It's hard to micro-analyse and get really critical about that performance. That's just my perspective of it, because the opponent isn't a strong opponent. At the same time, the All Blacks have got to go there. They got to win and take care of business, which is what we did. That's the end of the autumn tour, people. It feels a little bit like, what if? But I think the whole season's been a bit like that, hasn't it? You know, the feeling I had after we beat the All Blacks, the South Africans at Eden Park, was I thought that we were way back on track at that stage. And then since that time, belted by them, belted by England, and we just haven't really been that convincing. So, as I said, I'll give it a B versus Wales. Well done, All Blacks, on that. We got a whole week and then the rest of the summer to think about how to actually place the rest of the season into what context and everything else. Appreciate all your comments as always. Jump on the DSPN YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button for us. We're so close to 20,000 subscribers. We'd love you to do that today. Try and get us over. Maybe before next week would be brilliant. Changing Sheds is our new subscription service. A couple of bucks a week. You can hit join on the YouTube channel or the enhanced benefits banner on exclusive benefits banner, Lachlan, on Spotify video. It's just a little bit of extra content every week for you. Some opinions, some things we probably don't say out loud. Exchanging emails with you, answering all your questions, behind the scenes footage and some interviews that you don't get to see. You still get everything that we provide for free. This is just a subscription service if you can afford to help us out, because as I say, it's a business like anything else. Thank you very much to Novus. Thank you very much for watching and all your comments. Have a brilliant Sunday, and we'll reconvene tomorrow with Tony Johnson, and that will be out at about 6 o'clock tomorrow night. All right. Damn good. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Where's Presley gone? Hello, mate. There you go. Like a good boy. Hey, like a good boy.